to the white base glaze. I've also left out the glazes that we used in the children's class, which are commercial glazes that we would be able to use just because they're left over from the children's classes. So if people want to experiment with those, there are some nice colors there. What I don't advocate is just brushing that on all over some of your lovely big pieces, but using it in conjunction with Myolica. And I'll talk more about that next week. But so basically, you know, as soon as your work is finished, you can put it on the cart to be bisque fired. And I'll work on getting that through this week and this weekend so that we have stuff to glaze.
Are you slowly bisquing it? Does it have to be completely dry?
No, I'll monitor that myself or give a preheat on the kiln. So just so that I know that your work is finished, go ahead and put it on the cart and then I'll load it as required.
Okay.
Can everybody understand me okay with my little retainer in? Okay.
It sounds like you got a retainer.
So today I just wanted to put this together, but really give you guys a day to work since we're sort of right in the middle of our session here. And then on Thursday I'll do small scale kind of jugs and pitchers and some throwing techniques for that. So Don, I know you were doing a tall pitcher form. If people are struggling with how to do closed forms, we'll work on those techniques. But on a small scale we won't worry about.
You mean completely closed?
Well, not completely. I can if you want me to.
No, I just wanted.
Can if you want. And just a couple of spouts and stuff. So Thursday will be pretty demo heavy. But today I just want to get this together and then we'll be able to get to work. Okay? So I've pretty much just gone and centered this in the middle. And I'm just judging that based on the foot. I'm not worried about the top really. If it was super wonky, then I might set it according to where the shoulder is centered. But I'm pretty happy with this. I need a pin tool and a scoring tool.
Uh-oh. That's not a pin tool.
Your pin tool's right here.
Yeah, there it is.
Thank you, Linda.
You're welcome.
Oh, I should probably anchor this. But even though I'm anchoring it, this is not 100% certain it's going to stay, right? Because it's so top heavy.
Yeah.
You filming?
I am.
Oh, it's a spring day outside. I'm so happy. So I'm just going to cut this neck off. Remember that was just there to help me get that globe form.
Well, we tried to think about that today while she had.
We talked about that in class, remember? Because the first one I did collapsed in on itself because I had it coming to a point here. So on this next one that I threw that most of you were working, so you weren't watching and I wasn't talking about what I was doing, but I kept a pretty long collar to help keep this shoulder straight. Somehow this collar, there's something in the dynamic of that straight that gives this support. If I would have worked this in like this, it would have had a greater likelihood of collapsing downward.
As you did.
As I very successfully demonstrated, yes. So you know what? The wheel is our friend. It spins and makes everything easier. I think yours spins too, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, not my friend.
Oh, come on.
I have a theory.
It's the happy little wheel.
So if you don't have, you know, I have very little left down here, so I'm just going to keep that all there so that I can use it to attach. If you feel like you've got too much clay there, feel free to go ahead and cutting that away.
Sorry, my lungs needed some air.
Okay. I just didn't know you had
No, it wasn't exasperation. No, I stand here.
Wait, let me get Toby expiring over here.
Exasperate. Not exasperated.
Lovely. That's so pretty.
So big it won't fit in my window.
So I'm not pushing anything down, I'm just seeing how on center it is. If you want, you can use your pin tool, and I'm just holding the pin tool real steady, and it's marking where it's hitting, right? So just as you would center anything on the wheel, and then I pick the end points of that and the midpoint and try.
Do you ever intentionally give them an attitude?
I bet she does.
Only when Linda's around.
You know, like, it could be kind of cocked over at one side.
Yeah, well, I think what's happening is this is giving just a little bit. So I'm going to work this, and when I have my hand inside here, I'm actually supporting, like my fingertip is right here. So I'm actually supporting the shoulder right now, just trying to get that level. Because I think that's part of what's going on.
There goes some of that attitude. Adolescent rebel.
And I mean, when it's not moving, you can't tell.
Yeah, I think it's gorgeous.
You know, so to a certain extent, I don't really worry about it, which maybe is a little bit cheeky, but why, like, we've got this. Why worry about the fact that it's a little cockeyed if you happen to look at it from one direction, or if you happen to spin it? It's not like I'm going to have this on, like, a rotating pedestal in my
Lazy
phone.
Susan.
So basically from here, I just want to make sure that I have a good join. But I'm trying not to oversaturate, so notice I have more slip on my sponge than I do water. And I'm just trying to push those two seams together. So I'm pushing up with my inside fingers on that shoulder as I indicated earlier, and I'm kind of pushing in and down, trying to throw these two pieces together. And that's basically it.
And it took the wobble out.
Yeah, it did.
It stopped. It's pretty centered.
So I might, if I can find the right ribbon, all of your all's tools, I might just clean this up a little bit more. But that's essentially very simple how these two parts are going to go together. For finishing the bottom, all I did was it's pretty wet. So I don't want to tilt it up too much because I might dent it. But can you all see I just punched that inside up and then I rolled the bottom. So I took the pot, rolled the bottom, and then just punched that inside up so that it would sit on the outside of that. But yeah, because the walls are pretty thin for the weight of it, I don't want to. And if it survives, it'll be in the kitchen. And Darren can fill it for Maxine with flowers.
Aren't they sweet?
So that's it. Are there any other questions or anything that isn't on our brief little calendar there that people want to know? So I do want to cover, since some of you talked about glaze mixing, I am going to walk through how to handle that with the dry materials next Tuesday, just to try and assuage some of the fear about that process, because it's really straightforward and easy. So we'll do a little bit of that, and then I'm going to have some images too of both historical and contemporary maiolica, just to give you all some ideas to get going. And we'll probably do a spraying demonstration also, since the scale of some of our work is going to be a lot easier to spray that glaze on.
The scale of their work.
Some of it.